the it's kind of a hard time in the cannabis industry to be able to continuously rely on certain brands being around.
Mm.
I think that if you're paying any attention to what's happening with the big national brands, there is enough of the little guys going through the same thing, but they don't have shareholders
Right.
to appease, so that they're not getting articles written about them and stuff.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Yeah, of course that's the way it is too. If you're not big enough to get attention, you're not going to get attention.
Yeah.
we
Like,
oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say there's a grower really like a company that we have quite a bit of product from, and they just did a restructuring filing and fired most of their employees. Tantalus Labs.
Tantalus.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we
like
were talking about that.
I brought some Pacific OG with me today, but it was like that, one
Yeah.
moment to the next,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden everything changes. And you keep hearing about this again a lot with the big guys and how close they are to the edge and everything, and it's just seeing it in some places that you believed in as well too, and really like their product. It's
Yeah, actually, I was a huge fan of Sutton, or am a huge fan of Sutton. I like what he's done. You know, he advocates for a lot of the things that I believe in. Um, and when I heard about Tantalus, I followed them on Twitter, and I thought they had the best packaging in the game. You got like a little like it came in a beautiful box. Like there was some. They were like the number one branding brand when in 2018-19 when they got into this, because man, their stuff looked good, and the product looked great. Can't say I ever tried any of it, but they're outdoor grown, are they not?
yeah, yeah.
We were talking about that, and man, some of that bud is absolutely incredible. And I honestly, I would never even have guessed that it grew outdoors. So it's
Yeah.
like Tantalus, good branding, good product. Sad to see them go, or sad to see them have to let off most of their employees.
Yeah, where this ends up, I guess we're gonna find out. But there's a lot of these places. I mean, they're a more recent situation, but there's a lot of these places that it's like it's gonna be sad to see because of the minutia of the business and everything. It's gonna be sad to see some of these products not be around, because it's like that's not that's not bad product that couldn't find a place in the market because it was just trash,
Right.
right? It was like, oh, those are like really good products, and they were priced incredible too. Like they were amongst other things on the menu because they took up a bit of the real estate in our menu in a lot of different categories, and it's they were priced really well in comparison. Like their ounce of the Pacific OG is on like the mid more expensive side, but the thing was is that what they did is went from where most companies will completely um, use bottom tier bud for the large bags, and eighths get the priority, flower gets second tier, ounces get third. They went no, actually we're gonna lower the tier of the pre rolls because like let's be real,
Yep.
and then let's up
Yep.
the quality of the bud. And that is exactly like it's like all of a sudden you're getting these like pillowcases of really good quality looking bud and everything, and then obviously the quality of the smoke and stuff was there too from it. So it's like that sucks. That's a miss in the market, and people
Mm-hmm.
are like not going to have access to these products, and that's unfortunate.
Is it? Well, clearly we just said it's not poor. It wasn't poor product.
Right, right.
The branding seemed like it was on point. Question is, was it poor business? Was it overregulation by the government? Was there third party actors, competition? Like what was it?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know, because there's just some companies you really thought would make it, and should have made it, and it's not to say they're not, they just filed for restructuring.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
there's no.
it's the million reasons why a ship can sink, right? Like it doesn't have to just be a big iceberg.
Right.
It can be a lot of things that can create these problems. So I think that it's sometimes it's just bad luck. I mean,
That's it.
I mean, I've seen him talk a lot about the taxation issues.
Well, yeah, we're welcome to Canada, hey? Taxation. Yeah, that's just the unfortunate reality of having to deal with, you know, this industry in this climate because, like I said, we kind of loosely talked about this before in regards to Oklahoma.
Mm.
Oklahoma, and I talk about quite a bit, had the opportunity to go legal. Their people voted against it. And I'm like, why? Why would the people vote against it? Well, they say, overregulation, high taxes. And I'm thinking, well, what overregulation and high taxes is at least a start.
Yeah. Look, Manitoba. Here we got rid of the SRF fee that was a
What's that?
percentage on revenue uh, fee that retailers were charged on their cannabis sales. So anything that was cannabis, there was a 6% fee on our total revenues of that.
And that just went to the feds or province?
Province. Yeah, went to the province. And it was called the social responsibility fee, the SRF fee.
Okay.
And this is supposed to go towards all of these different
Sure,
programs,
sure,
so
sure.
social awareness,
Yeah.
and it was like they were making money hand over fist. Obviously, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars collected, and they had like billboards and some like pamphlets, and you're like, so where's all the money?
Right.
And
Right.
and people asked where the money was, and they still haven't told anybody. But all of a sudden, it got put into a bill that it was going to get repealed. Not only did they repeal for this coming year, but they actually backdated it a year for last year's as well too. So we didn't have to pay 2022's, and then we from 2023 on do not have to pay.
Okay.
And so it's like a great win because in a low margin product, losing 6% off the top is
Horrible.
insanity.
Horrible. And then that's not including regular taxes too.
Right. Like I'm still paying off of that, and
Income
then all
and
the other
income
stuff.
tax
Right.
and a PST, provincial tax, GST.
All the fun parts that come along with it. So it's just you right off the bat that limits your staffing and stuff like that. Like I mean, basically, it's giving us the ability to grow the company and in the short term add more employees, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, that's like an easily a part-timer worth of revenue there that is going to be accessible to the company going forward,
For sure.
right?
Imagine
Like,
that 6% that you could invest in your own company.
yeah.
Whether it's towards hiring new staff, marketing,
Yeah.
there's so many. There's
Yeah,
so many different avenues of things that you could spend that 6% on.
yeah, and that we from like I'm terrible with the number game on this, but it's something like up to 55% of the cost of the flower is taxes at the retail level.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
like
I had to process
the
that.
amount that I pay for it, it's the amount that the federal government takes is crazy, and then the amount that the province takes is crazy,
course.
and the province just really acts as a mediator of purchasing. There are some benefits there, but it is incredible the amount of money that they're making off of those benefits. And then also what it does from you go, oh, that's a great price per gram, to like, that sucks. Right? Like it just
Boom.
one step to the next real quick. And it makes it so when you think about it that way, the growers are being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed as they are the start level. They're being pushed down and down and down in terms of the dollar that's feasibly made. And just like we learned in agriculture, as we watch small farming, go
Evaporate.
extinct and
Yep.
be evaporate, right?
Yep.
There are no mom and pop shops anymore in that. Or there's just the last standing ones.
There's the last few.
The last few, right? It's not
that
something you go into.
The teeth of corporations are just drooling, waiting to grab their.
It's just impossible to operate and make any money unless you were at incredible scale, right?
Exactly.
And whilst that can be good for consumers where we get to something that the price is so crazy low and such, but you're never going to have quality of product, and you're never going to have diversity of product in that model. because it's all going to be a bunch of big corporations
course.
that have multiple brands.
Yep. And they're just
As if
chasing
you
profit.
go, there's lots of alcohol thing, and I go play that pyramid game
Yep.
and watch how
Yep.
few things own all of those brands.
Yep.
There's a lot of mix there. And yes, small guys exist. We have like even out in Winnipeg, like there's whiskeys and vodka companies and all that.
But they're not doing amazing.
Yeah,
They're doing well, and I'm
right,
sure
right.
they're happy and content, but they're still not competing on the
not.
level, that can compete against a Crown Royal, which is a great example of a small company gone big, but
Yeah.
a Crown Royal
Also,
or
local Manitoba
Jameson.
company.
Right, right.
Yeah.
A Jameson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a Budweiser,
Yeah.
Good luck penetrating the beer market,
Right.
Like it's that gap of trying to, and that's what you want to avoid is that level that you just can't get past. You'll never be anything bigger than a craft brewery, or a craft grower, but you have to stay true to your product, to the cause. And I think people will search it out. People will find that because we're already seeing it. People don't want garbage.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go to a company that's going to keep providing inconsistent or no good product. And I don't, and I think the awareness around terpenes and, different cannabinoids, and flavors, people are really starting to realize, okay, wait, I don't have to have this product that just tastes like weed. I can have something that's maybe a little more floral, something that's a little more, fruity, something that's got a little more, maybe skunky if you want the gas or the nasty or the funk. But it's like people are understanding that there's more to this product than just THC. It's just over the course of the last, we talked about over the course of the last 30, 40, 50 years, that's all we focused on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people are realizing, well, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
But the big companies aren't willing to research or invest the money into the plant and the product to see what else can we find. It's a push for profit. People just want the THC. Give them the THC.
You know what? I've got such a good example of this, and it is Natural Earth, Winnipeg company.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the strain that they do living soil. There's a thing, we're looking at talking to them, coming up with stuff too. And one of the new batches of their Miss Kim, of now that it's getting going and stuff, starts with an N, and Adam's gonna kill me for forgetting this because this is like him spreading his gospel all the time. And Nitorol.
Sure, like you're referring to terpenes.
Yes. And
Yep.
I can't remember the one. But
yeah, he actually said it to me.
yeah, at the birthday. Yeah, and that's a thing that is not indicative of that strain, and is cause and effect of the way they grow that, right? And those things aren't possible on a large scale when you are growing for pure profit without any push from there.
Right.
If that's the only thing that this industry comes to, it's not that stuff's not going to be available. It's that you're not going to get that.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he was referring to particular terpenes that are only found in living soil.
Yeah, in the method of growing through living soil, increase those levels.
And at a mass scale, you're not using living soil. That makes no sense. You're hydroponic. Everything's flushed through tubes.
Efficiency. Yes.
And there's nothing to be. We're not snobbing our nose to hydroponic.
I'm snubbing my nose to having one type of thing available. That's what that's what it is. Like I went to Versity because we also need that if we want things like cheap concentrates. Right? Like if you just want like some cheap shatter or something like that, or some distillate, like that stuff like there, then yes. But you also want the good stuff if you're a concentrate person and you want to have some nice light resin or something,
there's cheap
right?
vodka and there's Grey Goose.
Yeah. All those things have to exist. I don't want none of them. I want all of it.
I want all of it.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I'm on the same page.
That's what a healthy market looks like to me.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes all shapes of life are going to use different levels of the product. If for example someone's making a sangria, it's I believe sangria is like a wine, but they use like fruit. They mix stuff. So if you're going to be mixing your liquors, well, maybe you're not going to use a premium liquor. You're going to get something a little lower bottom shelf, or and then that's the same with cannabis. Maybe you're cooking something and you don't need the greatest product for good cooking, then you can use a lower
You're not
shelf.
buying moon rocks
You're buying
when
en
you have
masse.
guests coming over.
Right, right.
You know,
At least
like,
you're not buying a massive moon rocks. You might buy a couple,
yeah,
right? But the reality is, I have friends that come over, and I like to put out a tray of herb and help yourself kind of thing. And yeah, I could understand where it's like, no, might not put out I've got some GMO concentrate over here that I really like it,
yeah,
and you would have to pry it out of my cold dead hands to put that out on the table for people to enjoy.
yeah.
I get it. I get it. Different times. You're going out for a picnic. You're going out for a lunch, and all these kind of things. You don't need a gray goose. You're going out golfing. There's there's a market for everyone, and it should be that way. It should be available. I don't want just $400 ounces.
Yeah.
That's ludicrous.
No, but I also like that they exist.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I like that it exists because I do think there is a premium market. I do think that, the bougier you like your stuff, the better. Some people
But
want
it's a small percentage.
very small.
But
Very
I
small.
think it just
But
shows.
Rolls-Royce exists.
Yeah.
Mercedes
in every
exists.
in every uh, industry, those things exist, and it's good because it shows strong industry. Right. And it from the cheap stuff to the most expensive thing that you can have, the economical to whatever. Like, it just shows that, like, people care, and they'll care to the point of making it art. Sneakers, I think, is one of the greatest examples of that, right? Not only can you have nice, expensive sneakers just by themselves, now you can make it art, and now value is subjective upon whatever popularity and people's willingness to pay. And the fact that, like, we can kind of do that with cannabis is great. Like, I think that it's just, again, in retrospective, or in respect of, I should say, of, you still need to have, like, a $26 for 5 gram bag of, like, but of good stuff. That somebody that of stuff that you're like, yeah, that's fine, that's serviceable. You're buying that with the expectation that you don't want it to crumble when you touch it,
right?
But if it's like, that's pretty decent bud for that price,
great,
awesome.
Yep. And when we were at your place there, the one time we smoked that joint that was wrapped and rolled and coated in a million things, it was like 1,000 milligrams and stuff. That was the first time in my life that I had ever had anything like that. And that's because that, if you will, is a premium product. It's like when we were kids and teenagers, we weren't looking for that. We were lucky if we could just keep a joint around. So it's like, yeah, I like that, and I do think that is healthy, and I want that kind of industry. I'm not going to support it. In terms of my finances, because I just don't have any desire to have.
But I think it's desire to do as well. That plays a big part. Is you have to have a desire to it, because finance, it really, what is it buying you? As a person who knows how to grow really great weed, what is paying absurd dollars per gram buying you?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
That's
you know
it.
that.
And I will never own a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, like, it's branding. None of it's a necessity, and a lot of it's branding and whether or not within your community it shows validation for anything. And, like, we're both very much in the same kind of page of that, is like, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat that are also, like, just make more sense. I don't have to buy the thing. I get something that's better for me and my family.
If you're gonna do something to that product that I can't do, like, say, take it and coat it in whatever, or that's that next level. That's where it's like, okay, well, maybe then now I will try that.
It's a science thing that you just can't do to it.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah. Then at that point, that's a product that I'm gonna try to pay, I'm gonna pay for, and I want to try. And that's okay. That's okay. That's healthy. That's good. You know,
because somebody has the reason to validate wanting to do that and the dollar to do so. And the great thing is too, is like, when that dollar also funnels into the same company that creates stuff that's accessible, like, that's the stuff I like, because you're like, that's just like, yeah, let the rich people pay for it. It makes it so that they're able to afford a production situation there, because that's a super high margin BS product, because it doesn't take them any more money to grow that weed than it does the other weed.
That's right. That's right.
So, like, if they are willing to do the work to make the brand that coveted, then, like, who cares?
No, have at no, that's good. That's good. I'm excited about that, but it's unfortunate to hear about Tantalus Labs. I was really hoping for them. I was,
Yeah, yeah.
that's one of those companies. I was like, yeah, I believe in you.
I'm interested to learn more. Like I like to see how this is all gonna play out. I feel terrible for what it is. I mean,
Yeah, it
not
is
that
what
I
it is.
knew a lot of people. I knew some people that work for that company that are really great people, and so you feel really bad for that. And you just wonder, kind of where that's gonna go.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll be purchased by someone else. That's sometimes a best case scenario too, right?
Yeah,
Um, you never know. I believe in a free market because competition is healthy, and hopefully, with down goes one company, two or three more great ones will rise.
yeah.
So bring it on, bring it on. For me, what was really interesting for me with them is that they grew outdoor product. Now, I can't show you the product here on YouTube, but like I personally could not tell the difference. I couldn't tell that it was outdoor grown.
Yeah.
Now, is it outdoor or is it sun grown?
Oh man,
Outdoor being obviously no
we're gonna put.
greenhouse.
Yeah,
I'm assuming there was a greenhouse.
I think they are both. Like I know good buds have
Both?
both. I think it's a little bit of both. I should know that.
Oh, hey, I can easy Google it, but
Yeah, yeah. It's I think it's just outdoor though. But they may well have greenhouses. But that but the thing is
I'm sure they do.
regardless of that is the fact that like there is a fairly large negative connotation of the quality of outdoor grown versus indoor grown.
Oh, 100%.
And it's the weirdest thing to me.
Well,
It's the weirdest thing to me.
the thing is, though, is that as an indoor grower, there is a difference between indoor and outdoor grown product. There is a very hard difference between indoor and sun grown. If you're using a greenhouse, that means the element of bugs almost minimum, disease minimum. It's only what you're bringing in.
Just ideal situations.
The idea of climate control, you got it, right? It's all climate. And to top it all off, you've got the power of the sun.
Yeah. The best lights you can
The
buy.
best lights you can get.
Yeah.
It don't cost you a damn thing. You
Yeah.
just got to cool down, right?
Yeah.
So, or keep the garden cold. So, to me, I would still consider, is it outdoor grown? It's sun grown. Outdoor grown, there is a difference. You not only can
Especially
you
with dealing with pesticides and stuff. Is that what I
well,
mean?
pesticides and the thing is that without the climate control, moisture isn't always dialed in. The wind, the birds, the bugs, the deer, they all have a say in your product, and often enough, the visuals, like it's typically a looser bud, a little more leafier, um, and I want to say, you ever had like fish out of a lake and you can
Mm-hmm.
taste the lake?
I get what you're saying.
Sometimes there's like that gamey taste to outdoor weed where it's like you can taste that it was outside for 3 months, and there is a difference. There is a difference, but those that have figured out how to utilize an indoor environment using the sun, I think is hands down the best way to grow bud. Because man, I think you're gonna have. I think the sun is giving you things that LEDs, HPSs, or high intensity diodes aren't
Everything like
giving
wide
you.
spectrum, trying to do the best to
Right,
replicate the
right. You,
big
you might be getting
nuclear
close,
reactor in the sky.
but
Yeah,
but the spectrum might not be the only other thing that's coming from that big ball of energy. There
yeah.
might be other vitamins and resources and nutrients and things that you're getting from that sun that you're not getting from lights. Um, like the trichome development or different cannabinoids, like we were talking with Adam. He's saying that through living organic or living soil, it's not necessarily organic, it's living soil, or it's not 100% organic. Through living soil, you are able to enhance terpenes that you aren't able to get in other methods of growing.
Right.
Well, I would then argue that sun grown cannabis is going to be sucking in things or being able to develop cannabinoids that you just can't get in indoor environments. So I would be interested to see, if we could do like a good analysis of some premium, well-grown bud, sun-grown versus ingrown or indoor grown, and test the cannabinoids, the terpenes, and
Same
the
cultivar,
every
run
yeah.
them
Now every
both.
phenotype's gonna be different, but you could really take two cuts from the same mom, send them off. Now, of course, there's gonna be other factors that come into play, but I'd be interested to see.
You just have to let it ride.
Yep, let it ride and just see. Is it a significant difference between the terpene profile of A versus B? I'm going to argue it's yes.
Physical appearance, all those
Physical
things.
appearance.
And like
Well, looking at that tantalus bud that you showed me, again, we can't show it here, but that was beautifully dense, hard, resinous. But I would never have grown, or I would never have known that it was outdoor grown and or sun grown versus indoor grown.
like all my outdoor growing, it was years ago. I was a much younger man, and like the consideration for so many of these benchmarks were not considered, and it's been too many years for me to remember half of those characteristics in a way that would be useful. I remember growing outdoors and getting 6 foot tall plants with these just giant beast colas at the top and them looking like the Pineapple Express plants in the movie. Right, where they've got the big shoot offs with like decent sized colas and stuff out there, but there was just that big honker at the top, and they were super tall and like standing in them, and taking the pictures and doing all that stuff. I remember getting a ton off of them. I remember them being large, dense buds, a little leafier and stuff in the buds, and having to clean a lot of that up. But we were, like 17, 18 at the time, and nobody was clipping shit. It was just like, this is what shows up in the, later this year, and
Yep.
we get to
Yep.
smoke it. And I remember being so sticky, and comparative to things that I've grown indoors, never having the level of stickiness on that. And it was the last 2 years we grew the same thing. It was LSD
Mhm.
was the cultivar, and like so it was just, I remember how crazy it was. Where everything, it was just, we had to use gloves. It was the first day we didn't, and it was the worst decision.
Nasty.
Yeah, it's the worst decision we ever made. We were just like pouring isopropyl or whatever it is on your hands and cleaning it off, and yeah, it was dumb. But yeah, comparative to flavor to good stuff, that was a time when there was a bust happen, and all of a sudden there was no weed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how the baselines of how flavor should be and stuff like that just wasn't developed yet. I didn't
Right.
have the ability to like.
Exactly. And we were not growing indoor product that we're growing now then that would even be comparable. You know what I mean? Like where
Yeah.
it's like I can put a plant in my garden, it'll be good in 6 months, it's done, and it's gonna be premium. It's probably as good or better than anything that you're being charged it for as quad A or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just
Honestly,
good herb. It's just
honestly.
good herb.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just good herb.
You grow way better weed than I do, so like, yeah.
Well, I just mean we weren't doing that before.
No.
So for that sticky outdoor bud, we were like, "Wow, this is amazing."
And that
We had
was
nothing
like
really to compare
with
it.
no interference. You just like,
Right, you just plant it and go.
it just happened.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you just put it in the ground, and as long as we used to like haul water during dry weeks and stuff, besides that kind of interference, that was it.
Yep.
We were not using nutrients. We were not like worrying about stuff, and you're like, oh, there's some bugs in that one. I guess, well, we'll see if it figures itself out. Like,
It'll figure itself out.
Yeah, and they did, and we always grew enough plants that in case something didn't work out, whatever. But I just, yeah, like it was always that, and really is a baseline, and it's still true in the tent to a degree too. But it's like with very little interference, you can still get somewhere with it, and really to like a pretty good degree. But like I said, I like that idea of like having the comparison and being able to see how they develop, and then getting to see like the different sizes of buds and your production you get out of it and everything, right? And are some of the negatives, does it get outweighed in the other way because you're like, oh, you're getting so much more from the one that, do you really care
Does
if
it
you have
matter?
this outdoor taste to it? Yeah.
No, man, I'm telling you, I remember when shout out to you and you and Ty. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
which particular time or how many times you guys had done it, but you guys gave me a jar of your hard earned work, and I'll tell you, when I took that jar home, there was no concern of it being outdoor or anything. It
Yeah,
was fire,
yeah.
and it was
It was good.
great, and it
Yeah.
was a jar of herb that I had not had prior. You know what I mean?
We
So
did
it's
that
like,
3, maybe 4 years. I remember getting two 2 years we got great crops, and that was probably one of the years that you got a big jar because it was like, just take some of this. It's gonna
yeah,
go bad.
yeah, that's
We'll
really
never
what it was
smoke all
like.
this.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
because the first year we did one crop, and I think we did like 6 plants. We went and cleared an area in the bush, did this whole thing, made uh, a, a little garden. And then the next year we were like, oh, we can do this. Like we dealt with the
yep,
watering, and we're like, I'll carry water. And like we had access to big farm equipment and
yep.
stuff. And so we cleared 2 super big areas. And I think we had about 24-ish plants in these 2 plots because we wanted to like survival. So
Yep.
what if something goes through there, we lose the whole crop? No, we're gonna put it on a different part. So we took the steps and we did that for a couple of years, and both of those years worked out really well. That was
You're definitely when it comes to yield and product, like it's hands down, you're growing massive plants outside, whether you want it or not.
yeah, and we lost a percentage, but we weren't paying staff and we weren't doing all that stuff. It was just a couple of kids, and we had access to a bunch of land, and so you were like happy that you had garbage bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't
Yep.
matter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
No, and then yeah, to for the comparison, you're hard pressed to get a pound of plant indoors,
yeah.
where it's the exact opposite for outdoors. So there's a little give take, but yeah, I'm very excited to when people tell me that they grow outdoors and or sun grown, and they want it to compete and be top shelf product,
Mhm.
because I'm like, show me, like, do it, let's see, because I want you to succeed too, because
Yeah.
I love having an operation in my house where I've got thousands of dollars worth of lights and tents and equipment. It's beautiful, but I do envy,
It feels that tech side too.
of
So
course,
right, yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep, totally. Everything's
yeah,
digital. I got it all
right,
on my phone. I can change and monitor everything.
yeah.
And it's like, I do envy the guy that doesn't have to do that. And nothing in their house. The real
It's a
estate.
different relationship.
Yeah, you walked down here today and you
Mhm.
saw how much stuff is scattered through my basement and my stuff that's related to either growing or just cannabis in general, and
Right.
it consumes you,
Mhm.
and so having that space outdoors would be a huge advantage.
I
Huge
love the
advantage.
idea of the greenhouse.
Right. Yeah.
That is such and you could, and supplemented with lighting
Hmm.
for, especially where we are at our latitude, for the part of the year that we don't get as much sunlight. Like, what a great situation
Hmm.
that is. I think having something like that attached to your house, and then you're not even losing your square footage inside of your
Right.
house.
No,
Right? If
you're
you have
right.
one of those like add-on greenhouses,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of a good way to handle that.
Yeah, and not only that, you could fill it with herb, you can fill it with your vegetables and fruits, and some self-sufficient, some self-sustainability,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the dream. That's the dream. But as of right now, when I see an outdoor product, yeah, I can tell if someone pulls product and outdoor. I'm not speaking sun grown. Someone says this is indoor, or no, this is that. Which one's which? Without hesitation, I'll tell you that's outdoor, that's indoor. And comes down to preference though, like you said. It's are you just looking for anything in particular? Are you looking for, is it all about the high, is it all about the flavor? That would check the box in terms of whether or not you're looking for indoor or outdoor.
Right.
But yeah, we do need to get Adam on the show
Natural Earth.
from Natural Earth, because
Yeah, I think they had something, and it should be up on their Instagram, but it's their master grower, um, and he's talking about like the bugs and aphids and stuff that they use
yeah, yeah,
and then they have like these
parasitic
little
wasps.
patches, yeah, parasitic wasps, and then these little patches of grass, and then it attracts all the little aphids and stuff, and then the wasps go over there, and
Yeah,
that's where they lay their eggs and
it's
stuff.
crazy.
It's like a whole little ecosystem, and they just take care of it because they don't use pesticides. They do use nutrients.
Yep.
So right,
Yep.
so they
Yep.
that falls from the organic, but they everything else is all through this living soil method. They deal. That's how they get rid of, like even with Health Canada, you have to take in account of all the clippings and stuff. The waste product
Oh,
is
okay.
weighed and kept into, and you have to like dispose of it within a certain method as well too.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, right. So either you're marking that you're selling it, or that you're destroying it, or whatever is going on with it. And so that's part of their like compost method and stuff too. So everything goes back into the soil.
Good.
It's quite the system.
Good.
Quite the system.
Good. That's the system that I want to see more of.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because like I want to see systems that are sufficient long term. You know,
Yeah.
something that's going to be not going to have a huge impact on the environment. You know, but that at the same time can still create fire product while composting and being at some level of organic.
Yeah.
That's exciting and competing. That's another thing. Not just doing it, but then also having great product.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have him on the show, man. We'll have to have him on the show. That was a good conversation, my man.
Yeah.
My mic's all over the place today. Just dangles here. Hopefully the audio was better on this one. It's hit or miss in here. I'm gonna get some foam.
The
Up
upgrades
there.
are coming.
Yeah, upgrades are coming. Upgrades are coming. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. If you have any questions, we'll love listening to you. For the 6 of you that watched the entire time, if you have any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section below. We love listening to you guys. But that's Chris. I'm Pigeons. We'll see you next time.
Peace.